What are relatively cheap things that business owners and independent professionals can do to gain greater exposure and reach in their local areas and beyond? And one of the newest questions in that area, we're helping answer Peter's question, who wanted to know some great ways to do some offline, inexpensive guerrilla marketing techniques. What are relatively cheap things that business owners and independent professionals can do to gain greater exposure and reach in their local areas and beyond? I talked about networking. I'm a huge fan of business networking in your local community. I do a lot of it. Hopefully a lot of you know me from San Diego networking events, because that's the community I plug into the absolute most. And our audience has stepped up with some other great ideas. Jason with Mount Helix Lifestyle said, make sure you fill out your Google page account, your Google business page account. Really great tip, Jason. Every one of you should make sure that you've claimed your Google listing, your Google business listing in Google Business. That is a free thing to do. It's going to take you a few minutes of your time to do that. But if you search Google Maps for your business name, there will be a link to claim it if it already exists. If it doesn't exist, you can create it. This is a free thing to do, and you definitely need to make sure to do that in your business, especially if you have a brick and mortar store. If you have an office with an office location that people can come to, you definitely want to make sure that you're on that Google map. So thanks to Jason. Great answer. This is an answer from Nancy. She said, hey, CJ, I watched your video today. I thought I'd pop by and make a suggestion. Those of us who live in California know how hit or miss it can be when driving our freeways. So one of the things that I love to do to connect with people is have virtual tea, because she doesn't drink coffee. When I connect with someone through social media, I invite them to schedule time with me on my calendar, and then I send them a Zoom link so we can have tea via video chat. It's a great way to have a one-on-one without the drive. Great idea, Nancy. I love that tool, Zoom. Have you heard of this tool, Zoom? Skype was really popular a couple years ago for video conferences. Then Google Hangouts kind of took over for a little while. And now it seems like Zoom is at the top of the list. I use Zoom a lot to meet with clients. It's very helpful. You can just do kind of an audio, like a phone conversation through it. Or if you have a video on your computer or laptop, or even your smartphone, or even your iPad, you can enable the video, and now you're having a video chat. It's like we live in the future, you guys. I tell my kids all the time, we live in the future. It's so exciting. But we have these pads, right? We have these devices. We can use them for our business. Use them to increase your efficiency. Great idea, Nancy. Have virtual meetings with people. You can still have that face-to-face interaction. If you're using the video settings, you can still look each other in the eye and have those conversations. It's almost like being there together. And the more our world and society becomes global and we're all interconnected like this, it makes it easier to connect. And you can have multiple people in those rooms too if you wish to have 2 or 3 people in that conversation. And you can screen share. That's how I personally love to use it, because we can be looking at a website or a tool kind of very similar to how we're doing it right now, right? Where I can flip up my, where I can flip open my browser and I can say, see, it's just like this, and you click here and you do this and you upload it like this, and then my client can flip their side on and I can see their screen and they can show me, well, I'm trying to put it here, I'm trying to do this, and I can say, click here, click there. It's got this extra tool on it called Annotate, which basically means you can have a pen and I can like circle on your computer screen right here, click right here, put it right here, and draw arrows and draw all over your screen, which amuses people. It's not permanent, don't worry. You can, with a single click, it all goes away. But that's a really great resource and a really great tool. So thank you so much, Nancy, for your question, or excuse me, for your answer to Peter's question. And I invite you to bring more of those questions if you would. Do you have an answer for this for Peter? Peter thinks that I should write a book on this. I would love to, so I need your help. What other ideas, what other tools, what other techniques would you suggest? Specifically, he's looking for inexpensive things. He's kind of bootstrapping the start of his business, as most of us are, right? So recommend some good books, good resources, offline, inexpensive techniques someone can use to promote their business. We've gone over some of the previous answers. I have a couple updates for us today. Robert jumped in and said that Chamber of Commerce meetups and entrepreneur meetups. And that's a really great one. I actually met Peter and Rob, Dr. Rob, through local entrepreneur meetups and networking groups. And that is absolutely a tremendous way to grow your business. I should point out, if you can't read this for our podcast audience, I'll read Robert's second part of his message. Says, God, I really don't know a lot for offline. Humans scare me. Well, you're in the right place, Rob. Here in the web jungle, we have humans and animals really of all kinds. Nancy writes, what an interesting comment. Nancy, you're definitely right about that. Very interesting comment. Alrighty. And then Peter actually came in with an answer himself. He mentions the original from the early 90s, Guerilla Marketing, easy and inexpensive strategies for making big profits from your small business. Available on Amazon. And in fact, Peter, I thought this is what you were referencing when you very first asked the question. And maybe you were, and you just thought you'd bring it to our attention, that there is a book called Guerilla Marketing. Guerilla in this case is spelled Guerrilla Marketing. But don't you know, I've already been thinking about writing a book called Guerilla Marketing, Gorilla, as in the animal gorilla, because that makes me laugh, because we're in the web jungle. So wouldn't it be appropriate if I wrote a book called Guerilla Marketing from that perspective? But this is the original by J. Conrad Levinson, and I do recommend it. It's a great book. I should read it again. It's probably been a couple years since I've read it. Peter, thanks for bringing it back to our attention.